Right now in News 12 New Jersey, the summer feels are back, but we could be seeing some rain later today. Plus, we're tracking the latest with Hurricane Dorian and the impact it could have on New Jersey later this week. Well, the southeast United States is feeling and will continue to feel the effects of Dorian. But depending on where people live, some evacuations remain in place where others are being lifted today. Lanes on some interstates are being reversed so people in Georgia and South Carolina can head inland to get away from that storm. And the message from elected leaders is pretty similar.
If you need to evacuate, you should be gone. All storm preparations should be complete at this point. Stay off of the beach. Don't drive around if you don't have to. This is not the time for sightseeing.
The threat of significant storm damage to our state is very real. This storm is strong and it's relentless.
Many people are also cutting end of summer vacations short as Dorian approaches. Travel still being impacted today, and cruise lines are scrambling to stay out of the path of Dorian and navigate port closures, resulting in extended cruises for some travelers and delayed trips, shortened trips for others. Airports and flights are affected yet again. Now, airlines are offering waivers after hundreds of flights were canceled. Fort Lauderdale, for instance, Palm Beach Airport's back open today, but operations at Charleston Airport expected to stop at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Megan Dice along with meteorologist James Gregorio. Very busy over here in the Weather Center tracking Dorian. Looks like a monster storm, but we're going to feel a little bit of the effects of the
ancillary effects, beach erosion, high surf, as well as maybe some coastal flooding. That's really about it. Let's check out what's happening here. Good news for us. Dorian still a strong storm, certainly weakened from where he was at a Category 5 moving over the Bahamas. And what is good news is that he's actually moving to the north-northwest at 8, about 90 miles east of Daytona. So again, going to skim right along the coast, or at least 80, 90 miles offshore, until Dorian runs out of room. And I think he runs out of room right around Wilmington, North Carolina, Cure Beach, Carolina Beach, Wrightsville Beach, and then perhaps smacking into the outer banks of North Carolina. Again, glancing blows, just, maybe half the storm going over it, but enough to create some issues and some problems. And this all starts to really get rolling later tomorrow into Friday. And then a fresh cold front is going to come through and help to steer Dorian further out to sea. And Dorian's already making a track off to the north and east. So by Saturday morning, it is a couple hundred miles off the Jersey shoreline, safely offshore. But again, the ancillary impacts, the beach erosion, the surge, perhaps the swell, large waves, beach erosion, coastal flooding, all possible. So although we don't have to deal with the winds really, it could be a little breezy around here, we're not going to see the effects that the folks in the southeast, or certainly not the effects the folks in the Bahamas saw. So we got a cold front moving through. This will help protect us. This boundary swings on through and interacts with Dorian and will continue to push Dorian out to sea as that cold front is moving from northwest to southeast. So certainly a good thing to have when you've got an approaching tropical system moving up the eastern seaboard. So that is a nice little protectant that we have. Slight risk for strong, if not severe, storms over North Jersey, Central and South Jersey. The risk is a little bit lower, but again, scattered severe storms possible, heavy drenching downpours, strong winds as well, maybe even some hail up in North Jersey. Satellite and radar shot now, pretty quiet, which is great news, but you could see some of those showers and storms percolating with highs today, climbing well into the mid and upper 80s to close to 90 degrees. So that storm threat is definitely there. We'll talk more about your forecast coming up. Let's check back in now with Megan.
All right, James, thanks so much. This morning in the Bahamas, it's a dire situation following Hurricane Dorian's landfall. And the Bahamian government thinks it's only going to get worse. You can see the damage from the air. Some neighborhoods are just wiped out. The Category 5 storm, one of the strongest ever in the Atlantic, made landfall earlier this week. At least 7 people have been killed, a number that's expected to go up. And flooding, also a major issue this morning. Some homes and neighborhoods are seeing 3 to 4 feet of water at least following a huge storm surge. Look at this. One man trying to ride out the storm with his wife, and she wasn't able to make it.
It came over the roof. I would imagine 21 feet at least. We were doing all right until the water kept coming up and all the appliances were going around the house like a washing machine. That's probably I got hit with something in there. And my poor little wife got hypothermia, and she was standing on top of the kitchen cabinets until they disintegrated. And then I kept with her, and she just drowned on me.
Oh, that's hard to listen to. Some people said they held onto trees and just about anything they could to try to survive the storm. And be sure to stick with News 12 New Jersey for the latest on Dorian's path. We will keep you updated on air, online, and on the News 12 app. Well, the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office is kicking off National Preparedness Month in an effort to educate the public on how to prepare for emergencies. So every week this month, the Sheriff's Office will prepare for different emergencies. Things like natural disasters, active shooters, mass casualties, chemical threats with drills and programs. They say it's also a good time to know your evacuation zone. The zones are determined by storm surge models based on worst case scenarios. Now, these zones should not be confused with flood zones. Another way the Sheriff's Office is helping residents is with its new storm program that provides vulnerable seniors with an emergency kit. Now, the storm program has provided more than 2,500 kits to about 3,000 seniors. This morning, searchers looking for a missing teen swimmer off the coast of Spring Lake, and they had found his body. Police, lifeguards, and the Coast Guard had been searching since Sunday when 15-year-old Hosea Robinson of Ewing was pulled out by a current. Late last night, they called off the search. The gazebo on Newark Avenue has been turned into a memorial for Hosea. Community members have stopped by to drop off flowers near a picture of the teen. Now, Hosea would have started his sophomore year of Ewing High School today. Island Beach lifeguards will be on duty every weekend this month, so swimmers can stay safe during the final weeks of the season. Lifeguards will be on duty at Swimming Area 1 beaches from 10 o'clock in the morning through 6 o'clock at night every Friday through Saturday, or through Sunday rather. Well, fire late last night in Union County forces the evacuation of several families from an apartment building. This happened at the Sunrise North apartment complex in Elizabeth. According to the Red Cross, 11 families, 29 people were displaced, including 8 children. No one was hurt. 18 units in all were affected, though. The president of the association says the fire started in Unit R and consumed 3 floors.
In front of the building and also on the other side of this building, they can. But those last 3 floors, no, it's not safe.
And you're concerned about collapse back there?
Yes, I'm concerned about that as well.
He says those who lived in the front of the building may be able to salvage belongings later today. Still no word on how that started. Well, police are investigating after a man was hit and killed by 2 cars in Egg Harbor. Jose Santiago was walking Monday night in the road when he was hit by a driver with a suspended license. He was thrown, we're told, about 75 feet. Santiago was then hit by another car. The driver left the scene and remains at large. Let's go to Newark, where an investigation is underway after a woman was hit and killed by a car. Happened on Washington Street around noon yesterday. The victim was pronounced dead on the scene. Now, prosecutors say the driver of the car didn't initially stop, but they were later found by police. So far, no charges have been filed. A soldier from South Plainfield that was killed in World War II has been identified. Army Air Forces Staff Sergeant Paul Cybowski was killed in action in 1943. His family is planning to hold a funeral on September 25th in South Plainfield, where they will have full military honors. New this morning, a Mercer County mayor is facing charges in connection to this year's primary campaign. Reports say Hamilton Mayor Kelly Yaddy illegally released expunged criminal records of her opponent to the public. She has since hired a noted attorney to defend her. Her defense attorney is expected to file a motion to dismiss the case today. If found guilty, she could face 6 months in jail and a fine. Senator Cory Booker, who's running for president, has a $3 trillion plan dealing with climate change. She's promising to use the money to develop clean energy, phase out fossil fuels, and create a carbon neutral economy. He'd also ban new oil drilling leases and fossil fuel infrastructure within 6 years.
There's many Americans calling out for a massive infrastructure program. This is in line with what infrastructure looks like. I'm a environmental justice guy, as a guy that lives in a city that has a massive lead problem right now. Well, most people don't know this. There are 3,000 communities, 3,000 jurisdictions that have where the children have more than twice the blood lead level of Flint, Michigan. We should get rid of all the lead pipes that are going into residential areas, schools. This should be something that should have been done decades ago.
We detailed the ongoing lead crisis with a 30-minute special. It included Booker's part during his time as Newark's mayor. You can find Water Worries, New Jersey's lead crisis at news12.com. Well, Edison Township is upgrading air conditioning in schools for some 17,000 students. The township says they'll spend $30 million for the improvements. That's thanks to an updated water sewer agreement. Plans to upgrade the township's water lines also in place there. The revised proposal will decrease the term of the contract to 25 years. Well, new this morning, the Port Authority announced that its airports, Seaport, Path, and Staten Island bridges reported record activity in July. The record activity comes while the agency has been making investments to upgrade infrastructure. The Goethals Bridge, which recently introduced cashless tolls, established a new July record for car traffic, reporting more than 1.5 million eastbound cars. The Goethals is the last of the Staten Island bridges to use cashless tolling. Well, still ahead as we head back to school this week. Do you need a quick fix when the kids get home? We have some easy to make healthy snack options and your back to school series. But first, let's check in with James. Hey, James.
Hey, Megan, 'tis the season, right? All right, let's check out what's happening. Back outside we go. Off the newer cam, looking okay now. We're going to pump the temperatures up, and in doing so, the humidity is certainly elevated as well. Look at these dew point temperatures, upper 60s to about 70. Toms River at 78 seems a little out of whack, but again, hovering near 70 degrees, so it's definitely sticky outside. That's going to lead to some strong, if not severe storms, so we've got a slight risk here for severe weather and severe storms over northern Jersey. You move into central Jersey, that risk drops down to marginal, but still very much so in place. So this cold front helping to foster some of those storms firing up, but also helping to steer Dorian out to sea. So there's some good benefits as well. High numbers next couple days, climbing into the 70s.